Welcome to the College Acceleration Summit. This presentation, Raising the Glass Ceiling Through Education, is provided by the Higher Education Resource Center. I'm Tim Scoggins, and I'll be talking with you not only about how education helped raise the glass ceiling for me personally, but how the organizations that I founded helped thousands of others to follow in my footsteps. You see, in the mid-1970s, I was a full-time firefighter and paramedic with a passion for helping others who realized how education can open the door for career advancements that never would have been otherwise available. Not only did I further my education and make it possible for me to be promoted through 11 ranks in the military, but also was enabled to continue serving as a first responder, transitioning from fire departments and ambulance services to the Coast Guard as a search and rescue pilot. I also served as the Service Chief of Education for the entire Coast Guard for many years. When I graduated from high school, I was smitten with muscle car fever, and to be frank with you, I've never gotten over it. Why mention this? Well, because my first job out of high school was that as an automotive mechanic. Not much need for a college degree when you're a car mechanic. However, if I were to ever get promoted to a managerial position, which I eventually was, furthering my education was important. That's why I went to Macon Junior College at night after the automotive shop closed. Although I was at junior college at the time, it's since grown to become the Middle Georgia State University. The city of Macon experienced a shortage of firefighters, so I applied and was hired as a full-time municipal firefighter. In fact, that's me on the right beside the chief at the public school that was on fire. I love serving as a firefighter. However, you cannot further your education and earn a degree when you work the kind of shifts that we did as firefighters. As a firefighter, I worked every other day for 24 hours with a Kelly day, which is an extra shift off every other week. You can't sit in a classroom when you're standing watch at the fire station. Being assigned to downtown fire stations most of the time that I was a firefighter meant that when we were on duty, we were likely to be called to fires, to car wrecks, or other emergencies at a moment's notice. However, I was able to complete the initial phases of paramedic training through the city fire department, which taught the courses internally in association with the local college. After 4 years with the city fire department, I entered the Air Force and served as a firefighter at Eglin Air Force Base, as well as a paramedic with the Okaloosa County Emergency Medical Services. This was the main fire station that I was assigned to at Eglin Air Force Base. In the Air Force, they emphasized that if you want to trade your stripes for bars, you must first earn a baccalaureate degree. To raise that glass ceiling, it can only be overcome through education. College credit by examination, that was the way to overcome working the 24-hour shifts that the Air Force had me working at the fire stations. So I was able to further my education through credit by examination. While stationed there, I was a regular face at the Base Education Center, challenging CLEP examinations, DSSTs, Excelsior College examinations. Back then, they were always administered with pencil and paper, and you had to wait a couple of weeks to find out if you passed. But yet today, they're computer-based testing. That's the standard. Some things haven't changed. Tests are still proctored in the same way that they were to ensure the integrity of the exams. Most tests are timed. However, now you can know immediately if you passed the test in most cases, and the results can be sent directly to the college or university of your choice as soon as you hit enter on the last question on that test. My wife and I raised 3 beautiful daughters, and college credit by examination was a way that I could further my education without taking time away from them to drive to a campus to take courses in classrooms. Back then, I was on my own to get the knowledge that I needed to succeed when challenging the exam, so I checked out books from local libraries or purchased them through bookstores to prepare for the test. I wish they'd had resources such as Speedy available back then. It would have been so helpful. I actually earned more than 2 years of college credit by examination, helping propel me toward degree completion. Some examinations were based on life experience. For example, my wife is German. I married her when I was stationed there. Her parents did not speak English, so she wanted her daughters to grow up bilingual. This is another example of a test that I took that was based on life experience, but others required intensive study and preparation, some of which I was able to purchase practice tests at the bookstore or acquire the practice test at military test centers. I wish I'd had those resources available today that I had back then. It would have made things so much easier. The Army had a shortage of helicopter pilots, so I submitted my application for consideration and was selected. After completing flight school, the educational services officer told me that I had just earned 57 semester hours of college credit for the professional training that was evaluated by the American Council on Education. That was in addition to the dozen that I'd earned in the Air Force as a firefighter. Wow, I knew that the intensive training in the classroom was rigorous, but I didn't expect to receive that kind of credit for it. That's fantastic. After serving in Germany from 82 to 85, I returned to flight school as an instructor pilot. I did take a few more courses at the Base Education Center. It was there that I finished my first baccalaureate degree and donned the cap and gown. A couple of years after my transfer there to flight school as an instructor, the Coast Guard experienced a shortage of search and rescue pilots. So I applied and I was accepted for an inter-service transfer to the Coast Guard soon thereafter. You got to realize I did have barriers to education because of my serving on the fire department and with the ambulance services. However, that work schedule becoming a barrier can easily be overcome through college credit by examination. Not only did it allow me to earn this degree, but I actually earned an associate's, 2 bachelor's, 2 master's, and I was well on my way to a PhD when I retired from the military. By the way, credit by examination can also be used to meet prerequisite requirements for master's degrees. That's how I was able to go from, take for example, a bachelor's. This one shown on the screen is in aerospace technology, but yet I went on to a master's in business from the Regent University Graduate School of Business there in Virginia Beach. After transferring to the Coast Guard, my first assignment was to Air Station San Francisco. Naturally, search and rescue is our primary duty, but you also have to have an administrative duty for when you're not flying. The duty changed year after year, so we would become well-rounded officers. My last year in San Francisco, I was assigned as the training and education officer. The only responsibility as education officer was to give promotion exams to enlisted personnel. I took it to the next level and attended the Navy's Pacific Fleet Education Officer course. It was there that I acquired the information regarding the professional training that had been evaluated by the American Council on Education, and I created the Coast Guard Education Database. With this, I created degree plans for enlisted members to show them how college credit by examination could apply toward their degrees at a distance. They got excited, to say the least, and several of them earned their degrees before I transitioned. And when I transferred up to Kodiak, Alaska, an island 300 miles south of civilization in Alaska, that's where, in addition to flying search and rescue there, I established a base education center and began administering college-level examinations and guiding people to degree completion on the base. Hundreds began pursuing degrees, with us holding graduation ceremonies in the base theater. This caught the attention of the 3-star Admiral of Washington, D.C., Admiral Loy, who called me to ask if I could create a higher education program for the entire Coast Guard. Of course, I assured him, with the right staff and the right budget. So he transferred me to the Coast Guard Institute, and he designated me as the Service Chief of Voluntary Education for the entire Coast Guard. Not only did I lead the staff in creating degree plans for thousands of students and guiding them in the use of credit by examination, but I also coordinated the evaluation of professional training throughout the Coast Guard with the American Council on Education. More Coasties than ever are now pursuing degrees and earning them using this support. I was at the Coast Guard Institute from 93 to 98. Then, as a lieutenant commander, returned back to flying duty at Air Station Clearwater. There I also served as part of Joint Task Force 4, the Federal Interagency Drug Task Force. By the end of 99, I decided to retire to start my own corporation that could enable anyone, military or civilian, to receive degree planning support and guidance in the use of credit by examinations to achieve their goals. There are more than 30 million adults who have started college but discontinued their studies before earning the degree they desired. They want to climb the ladder in their jobs, but the glass ceiling gets in the way. Most of them haven't got a clue where to look to find the best avenue for degree completion. Many search for colleges on their own. However, 90% of them lose credit and transfer. 40% lose most, if not all, of their credit that they've earned in the past. But yet, you know what? They don't have to be blind. They've got support available through HERC because we're there to help them. Notice the tagline on our homepage of our website. With our support, students earn degrees quickly and at a fraction of the cost. Earning credit by exam not only accelerates degree completion, but it also saves them a considerable amount of time and money. DegreeQuest is the name of the degree exploration system that I created. No one else in the world can do what we do. I know that because I've got 34 patented processes and prove it. With DegreeQuest, we build in all of the past academic accomplishments of students that we're serving, then we select the degree they desire. Within a matter of seconds, the system streams the credit the student earned in the past into the curriculum requirements of the degrees in the system and presents them the best options to consider. When we say we've got hundreds of colleges and thousands of degrees in the system, we are serious. We got more than 450 colleges with more than 15,000 degrees from associates to PhD in Degree Quest. You may have heard about us in the past, not as the Higher Education Resource Center, but under another title because we've taken on the identity of corporations and government agencies that we serve. To date, as you can see, 190,000 students have benefited from this technology and innovation, thousands of which have earned their degrees using our support. Credit by examination is something that even my family benefited from. As I mentioned, my wife and I raised 3 wonderful daughters. Our oldest earned credit by examination by taking the German language exam, and she applied it at Clemson University, where she earned her undergraduate degree. Our youngest daughter graduated from high school at 17. So her first semester, she went to the local community college. Then after that, in January, she went on to the College of Charleston. And at the end of her first year, she had earned 33 semester hours on campus, pretty typical for a freshman. But yet, she also had earned 39 semester hours through college credit by examination. By the end of her second year of college, she was given her baccalaureate degree, which saved me more than $34,000 in tuition. Truly, credit by examination can accelerate degree completion while saving a significant amount of money along the way. Perhaps you'd like to take the guesswork out of the arduous task of finding the right college or university to help you achieve the degree you desire. We can help. If you go to the Making Education Possible website, when you join, we offer free support to those who need this help. In fact, if you scroll down on the banner image and look at the last bullet, that's actually us that they're talking about with the degree planning. We're here to help you as well. Thank you for taking time to see this brief presentation.